Alright, hello everybody, welcome to a very special episode of Don't Feed the Animals. Today we are going to be cooking. I won't sound like Count Dracula, even though I was trying to do an Italian accent. Let me just start again. Hey everybody, Alex Smart here in the kitchen. We're going to be cooking, we're going to be making some bicycle energy bars. These are great, they're going to really keep you going. I've done maybe 8 batches already and tried out different kinds of things, which is a lot of the fun. And they really kept me going, like even more than any store-bought bar that I bought. The ingredients are fresh, the fats and oils and the nuts that we're going to use are still right there and ready to give you energy. And I just found that they were actually far superior as far as giving me energy on the road. Okay, so what do you need to make your own energy bars? Well, to start with, you're basically going to do this in 3 phases. One is going to be the wet phase, one is going to be the hard phase, and then one is going to be the basically the wet phase is you're going to start with some canola oil. Now actually it could be any oil. I use only about a tablespoon and a half of this. I just kind of go by feel, just enough to cover the pan. This is the pan I'm using actually, so it's pretty big, so you want enough just to kind of cover the bottom. Again, you know, about a tablespoon and a half is good. I use canola oil also because it doesn't have a lot of flavor to it, which actually is a good thing, because I feel like it doesn't sort of take away from the flavor of the things that I want to add to it. But you can use anything. You can use, you know, sesame or even olive oil if you want a little different flavor. But again, I just stick with the standard canola oil because it's not too much flavor. And then the next and probably the most important thing is going to be brown rice syrup. Now, this is a sweetener, but also it's super important because this is really what holds everything together. Okay, so you got to have the brown rice syrup. I use almost a half a cup of this. So it's really good brown rice syrup. It's also low in the glycemic index because it's from brown rice and not, you know, cane sugar. So it's great and for a lot of reasons, very healthy brown rice syrup. Again, about a little bit less than half a cup. I used to also use honey, but honey kind of added a very distinct flavor, which was actually good. I like that too. But just to change it up a little bit, I went back to basics. I'm just going to use some brown rice syrup for you today. And then the last of the wet ingredients is going to be vanilla extract. Just a great thing to add to it. Adds a nice little kick. Vanilla extract, I use about a teaspoon of this. Maybe a little more, teaspoon-ish, depending on how I feel. That is also very tasty. Today, I'm actually also going to be using peanut butter. I've done this a couple times, and it works really well. I'm probably going to use about a third of a cup today. Last time I used a quarter cup. And I want to just punch it up a little bit because what I'm going to be doing is using a banana. So we're going to have a little peanut butter banana action. Now, as you can see, this banana is an official bicycle banana because it has bruises from when I brought it home in my pannier. Now, I've been using dried bananas, but those are not as good. I basically started out using about a half a cup of dried bananas in one recipe, and I didn't taste them at all. So I thought, well, I just need more of them. So I used a full cup of dried, like crumbled dried banana chips. But they still didn't taste, and the reason why is the dried fruit is really, there's no flavor to it. It's usually, you know, kind of dried in oil, which is not great either. They're sweetened, so you kind of lose the whole flavor of the fruit if you get dried fruit. So we're going to try this one. This is an official banana that's been biked home with me. You can see the bruises from being in my bike bag. Probably going to maybe use about half of this. We'll see when we get there. So use the banana there. Sometimes the transition into the hard ingredients is our dates, fresh dates. I always use fresh dates. Again, everything, the more fresh stuff you can use, the better. Now, another reason for the fresh dates is because they're also a little bit sticky. So they, again, hold things together. Now, I'm not going to use the dates today. I've used them in almost all the recipes so far, except for the last one, which is really good without the dates. It was a very nutty thing. So I'm going to try this one also without dates, and hopefully with the banana, it's not going to be too squishy and everything will stay together. Then after you do that, you're going to need what I call the hard ingredients, or the crunchy stuff, basically. I've kind of been using almonds as my base, about a half a cup of almonds. I chop them up. I don't actually like just cut them in half because I'm lazy, but you should actually try to chop them a little bit more than that. It'll probably be better also for digestion because the nuts, if they're too whole, then they could kind of maybe give you stomach cramps while you're exercising. So you want to cut them up a little bit better than I do probably. I've used cashews before, but today, as my soft nut, as the soft hard, I'm going to use macadamia nuts. They're also soft, they're full of great fats, and they're just easier to munch on in the bar when you're on the bicycle. So I'm going to use about a half a cup of that. And then sunflower seeds are great too. I'm probably going to use maybe a little bit less than a quarter cup of these. They're really fun. They don't really add too much of a kick or a flavor, but they add a nice little, softer nut sensation. They're really fun, so I'm going to use about a quarter cup of that. And then, now these are unhulled sesame seeds. I'm going to just show you here. You can see maybe the dark brown color there. See how they're dark brown? So they're dark brown. These are unhulled. Now there's hulled and unhulled. It's very different, actually. They're very different. The unhulled, which is what these are, adds a little bit of a pungent kick to it. They're almost bitter. I'll almost say bitter. But it's fun. They add a fun little flavor to it. I'll use about 2 to 3 tablespoons of these. You can use the hulled if you don't like the flavor of them. They are kind of noticeable, but I like it. I like it a lot. You want to add the oats in at the very end. You go by feel, kind of see how much you need to put in, and it's kind of the last step, and then you kind of see what the mixture looks like. It usually takes about 3 cups. You can go a little bit more. Sometimes I've even gone a little bit less. It really kind of is by feel, and we'll look at that later. So the oats are very important. Big can of oats. I'm just going to quickly talk about the tools you'll need. Of course, you need a cutting board and some sharp knives. We also have, this is I think an 8x8 casserole dish. I use this, and I also line it with parchment paper. So you're going to want to get some parchment paper. Some people use wax paper, but parchment paper is supposed to be better for cooking. I don't know why exactly, but I think it might be have something to do with just not having the waxy flavor, waxy buildup. And then also, it's just more malleable. It kind of fits in the thing a little better. And you're going to need 2 layers of that, one for the dish and one just to put on top. This is actually an interesting tool. We'll get to how you kind of mush things in with the fork. And then I use this and I press down with this to really press those bars. I put all my weight, you'll see. Put all my weight on it. And then you just want to have something to store them in afterwards. You also need some measuring cups, some measuring spoons. I actually only need the tablespoon and the teaspoon. Of course, you're going to need an oven mitt. And this is for the oats. This is a 1 cup. I don't know if you can see that because it's, here, I'll put it in front of the red. So 1 cup, measuring cup for the oats. And yeah, that's it. Oh, and of course, since it is a bicycle video, we're also going to do GoPro here when I start cooking. So I'm going to I have a chest harness. We're gonna do that too. So okay, that's it for the tools and stuff that you need. Let's start cooking. Okay, we're back. I wanted to show you one other quick thing. I do use kind of a bowl for all the things that I chop up, that I put in. Basically what happens is you mix the wet ingredients first, then you dump in all the hard ingredients next, and then you kind of stir that up, and then you put the oats in 1 cup at a time. So I use this just to kind of get all those ingredients in at once. Need this. I always do the dry ingredients first, obviously, because it doesn't matter if they're sitting around waiting for you. Raw almonds, by the way. I use raw almonds as opposed to the baked. I use raw nuts a lot. I think that they're supposedly just better. They're not as... Anytime you cook something, you take nutrients out of it. So, I always try to use raw if I can. I'm not a raw foodist by any means, but... Ow! Just kidding. You have to be careful when you snack on nuts, because even these bicycle bars, you don't want to eat them too late at night, because then the fats will sit and become part of your body. I use the parchment paper from the time before to be the parchment paper that is used for the compression the next time. Kind of recycle, reuse. Recycle's not everything. You got to reuse some stuff to make it worth it. See, that's the fun. You kind of just, experiment and see, how does this one turn out? How do they stick together? what ingredient can I try next time, is I just want to make sure it's really going to get all the way around, and you want to be able to kind of push it into the corners. You don't want any issues with the corners being puffed up or something, because then that'll shape the bars. So it has to fit right in there. This is where once you start going with this process, you kind of have to keep going. So you want to have everything ready before you get to this stage. Should have done this in the middle of the night. Now, as far as the heat level goes, there's 10 levels here. I put it on 4, so it's well below halfway. You just want it hot enough to where everything melts. I think this time I'm going to use 1/3 cup of peanut butter. Last time I used 1/4 cup. And just, again, you want to experiment each time. Again, you got to keep moving because this is cooking, you know, you don't want it to cook really. You just want to put all this stuff in here. But this is good. See, you want to get it, see if I can get in here. You want to get it nice and mixed. Okay, now this is your coagulant. And then now you want to put everything in. These are all of our, quote, hard ingredients. Put it all in, okay? Make sure they are completely coated. Okay, so you want to get all of that coagulant, or coating, that sticks things together. You want to make sure it's very well mixed. Look at that. That is beautiful. Okay, so I'm just going to do 1 cup at a time of the oats. Just boom, 1 cup. Just boom, put it in there. Okay? Put it in there and then mix it up. Make sure and get everything, again, evenly mixed. Get that coagulant. And then once you see like the oats kind of like are pretty much subsumed. I'm using a lot of school words, I know, I apologize for that. Then you put, boom, another cup. That's 2 cups. Okay, 2 cups of oats. Okay, then mix it up. Okay, see how, look at how it's changing. See how that 3rd cup, look how different it feels now. It's more of a granola sensation. It's kind of not so wet. The oats are going to start to absorb any moisture, which is another good thing about the oats. I think that's pretty good. I think this is good. You don't want to put any more. See how it's kind of like already, you can tell it's going to become granola if you put too much more. It's not going to be able to be a bar. Okay, so that is good. So now we're going to pour this in our pan, our casserole dish lined with parchment paper. Just going to make sure all the oats are in there as well. Again, you got to move fast. You got to move fast. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Donnie, put the parchment paper in there. Now you got to move quickly because remember you got to compress this too. So we're putting it in here. Look at that. No time for sirens. Got to push through it. Let's see. I'm going to get my magic fork. I'm going to use that to spread it around. See how that spreads? But see how I'm getting, the edges are the most important thing at this point. But now we're going to do this. See, we get our auxiliary parchment paper, and we are going to compress the heck out of this. Put all your weight on it, and just, I literally get on top of it. If you're not a bicyclist and you're another kind of athlete, you might have enough strength to do this without doing this, but as a bicyclist, we just have to do it this way. Now, very important, you have to get back in here and you have to refine the edges because that pan didn't go all the way to the end. See what I'm doing? Now, we're pretty much done. Now we just put it in the oven. So put it in right in there. Don't pay attention to my dirty oven. Put it in there, and then this is a convection oven actually. Now this oven takes a long time, but you want to put it at 350. My oven takes forever, so I'm going to do 25 minutes. Now, you probably don't want to do 25 minutes. You probably want to do more like 10 to 15 minutes. But this oven takes a ridiculous amount of time to heat up. I don't know why. So I put it for 350 and then I put it for 25 minutes. You can preheat, but again, it's like 25 minutes before this thing's preheated. So I just put it in there and put it in. And actually, I don't think the extra time really hurts it because you kind of want to slow bake anyway with this kind of thing. Part of the whole baking process when you're making energy bars is also just dehydrating it and making it stick together. So you're not really baking it. You're really kind of just solidifying everything together. Alright, well, we're still waiting on the bars. Really ready to eat now. This red light is on, which means it's too hot. I'm making you bicycle bars, yeah? Huh? Oh, that's weird. There's a guy about to jump out there. Okay, I need this sponge to wash your mouth out with the filthy talk you do. Manage. When you're done cooking and you like it clean, say what? Say what? When I say pan, you say clean. Pan! Pan! Alright, we still have this piece of banana. What's wrong with you with your dirty mind, or what do you think? My grandmother walked 80 miles in the snow for these oats. You eat your oats. I don't like it, but I'm gonna eat these oats. You don't scratch on my pan. You use the wood. I'm gonna beat you with it later. We don't beat people anymore, but in my day we beat the people. Now, you gotta be nice, you gotta talk to the kids, huh? What's that? What are you gonna do to talk to the kid? Oh, that's good. I put anybody in a good mood. Don't waste the food. That's the moral of this story. Menage. I don't like to use the word, but you are stupid if you don't read a book. I don't want about these internets. You gotta open a paper, look at it and read the words. I'm here cleaning the dishes. What are you doing? You sitting there watching me, huh? You gotta come here clean with me, you lazy scum. Aha! Check food. Oh no! Oh, I'm just kidding, it's alright. Now, when you pull them out, remember you got the wet and the hard and the oats, the coagulant. When you pull it out, you want to put it somewhere relatively cool. I usually just put it on the stove, somewhere other than the burner I was just using. Then you let it cool off a little bit, and then you are ready to put it in the refrigerator overnight. I do overnight, you don't have to. And then you cut it. You cut it right out of the refrigerator because that makes them nice and brittle, which makes them easier to cut nicely. I have an oven mitt and I have a towel. Between these two things, I'm not gonna get burned. Perfect timing. Oh, it's a brand new car! It smells so good. Look at that. Look at that. That is some great looking stuff. I'm gonna eat you. Look at these things. Those oats are gonna make you strong. This is now nighttime. Look at that. That is beautiful. Look at that. So they're, you can see they're pretty solid when you take them out. And I'm gonna cut these probably in about 12 bars. That fresh banana was definitely the secret. Oh my gosh. So we cut them all up. I put them in my little basket here. The cool thing about putting it in the snack bag is, watch this. You can kind of like just not even touch the bars, and while you're riding, you can pull it out of your pocket. And you don't even have to touch the bars. And you can see you can pull them apart. And that way my hands don't get sticky. So there you go, the DFTA bicycle bars. I hope you enjoy them. And we'll see you next time. Maybe I'll do another one of these and I'll do a different recipe. But I think you get the idea. I think you have enough to now to like do your own thing and enjoy. Have a great time in the kitchen, everyone. This is definitely one of my favorites. That is so good.